Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, January 28th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, the star of the Reno Ice Raiders, Matt Robinson back in the house as well on this Tuesday, ready to break it down here. An 8-game NHL slate and a massive Tuesday for the show because we've got our show here, of course, as usual, to break down the card. And tonight it is our Patreon exclusive live betcast for 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. And again, the offer to sign up, subscribe, and get on board for 50% off still exists, so make sure you check that out. It is still up currently. There we go, 50% off. Patreon membership discount right now, still available through till midnight tonight. So basically for almost the entirety of the betcast, you'll still be able to take advantage of this offer, 50% off your Patreon membership. And again, the reason we're offering this now and timing it this way is so you can join us on the betcast and become a Patreon member for a lesser rate, $10 per month down to $5 per month for the first month, that is, with the 50% off Patreon membership discount. So sign up, you get your first month 50% off Patreon membership, patreon.com/iceguys, and use the promo code BETCAST50, BETCAST50. We're looking forward to seeing you tonight here on the Ice Guys Patreon exclusive live betcast. And a special shout out to someone who's become one of our great viewers and listeners, Addison. We put the link in the chat. He's put together a bingo card, if you can believe it, for this edition of the Ice Guys show. Things that might get mentioned, things that might get said, probably for most of these cases, things that will get said on the show. No might. They will get said. Unbelievable by Addison to put this together. I'm just really cool. Mind blown. He actually took time to do this and put this little Ice Guys show bingo card together. So Addison, props to you. That was great.
Well done. Very well done. That was very clever. So
yeah, no doubt. And you know us very well because so much of that, we were just talking, the three of us here before the show, so much of, you're going to see a lot of those bingo spots hit. You know, it's just the way it is. I mean, we're going to end up saying a lot of that shit throughout the course of the show. No question about it. All right, let's get right into it. And we'll start quickly with a look back on Monday night. It was a profitable night, so no complaints. Even though that last game was just kind of frustrating. You're having a great night, and then you hit a little speed bump with that Pittsburgh-San Jose game, the way it ended. But nevertheless, it was a good night overall. We had the Flyers team total over. They got the job done, 4-2 over the Devils. And had a smaller piece of the full game over, and what a way to cash that in the dying seconds of that game with the empty net goal from Lawton. So 4-2 Flyers. They get the win there over the New Jersey Devils. Nice bounce back from them. How about the Detroit Red Wings? 5-2. They beat the LA Kings. Casper, the friendly betting ghost, 2 goals for him last night. Should have used him as the bargain bin, but that's okay. We still had a piece at plus 475. He had another great night playing on that top line with Larkin and Raymond. And the Red Wings now, after 3 straight losses, they've now ripped off 3 straight wins since those 3 consecutive losses under Todd McClellan, and a nice 5-2 win there over the Kings. And a real cool story. A guy, journeyman player, mostly in the minors his whole career, makes his NHL debut last night in his 30s. Dominic Shine. For time to shine for Dominic last night for the Detroit Red Wings. Pretty cool stuff. Someone that's obviously toiled away and worked his tail off to try to eventually get that shot at the highest level. Makes his NHL debut last night. Alex, I thought that was cool stuff right there.
Yeah, that's always awesome. You love seeing that in any sport. Obviously, you see it often sometimes in baseball, but certainly in hockey too, where guys who, like I said, played forever in the minors and then finally get that call up and get that chance, at the NHL level. It's a moment, obviously, he will remember forever.
No doubt. Shine on my head, down to my shoes. Shine, skirt on 22s. There you go. A little rap verse there for Dominic Shine. Well done by him. Last night, getting a shot here at the NHL. I'll tell you what was not well done. St. Louis Blues last night laid an egg. There's nothing else to it. That was a terrible performance by them. What do they have? 8 shots on goal halfway through the game last night against Vancouver. Awful stuff from the St. Louis Blues. And They deserved to get their ass beat, and they did 5-2. I do credit Braden Shen trying to wake his team up, fought with JT Miller in that game, trying to get them going, but they just didn't have much going. It wasn't a great game from Binnington. He got replaced by Hofer, and it was a nice win for Vancouver, the first time in a long time they had won 2 straight. It's they snap a 0-8 slide for the Canucks following a win with that 5-2 win. So we lose with St. Louis, unfortunately. But the good news is the system play comes through for us. First period over, full game over, cashing in there. And the system play, unbelievably, we've had 91 games with a shutout this year in the NHL now. That's where we stand. And on the season, we're now at 56-35, first period over, 51-34-6 with the full game over as far as the system play after the 2-0 sweep last night with the Canucks and Blues. First period and full game over, both cashing. Best bet winner for me, Edmonton, 4-2 win against Seattle. Credit to Damon, who liked Seattle first period and cashed with them. I had a piece of that, but obviously first period over was the best bet. Really like that. It was 2-1 Kraken after the first. It ends 4-2 Edmonton. They get 3 unanswered goals. McDavid scores in his return from the 3-game suspension, and the Oilers get a 4-2 win. Let's give Cal Pickard some credit. You know, we shit on Cal Pickard a lot and criticize him and say he's not really all that great. He's actually put a nice little run together when he's gotten the opportunity lately in net for Edmonton. Only 2 goals allowed last night, so nice job there by Calvin Pickard. And then the game that was frustrating because I thought we'd see goals and we didn't. San Jose with the 2-1 win against Pittsburgh. That's Pittsburgh. Can't trust them. You know, a team that cannot keep the puck out of the net, and suddenly they go cold offensively, only generate 1 goal, and they lose 2-1 to San Jose. So tough to lose the Penguin team total over in that game, but otherwise still a profitable, solid night overall. Alex, your thoughts on Monday?
Yeah, you mentioned about Calvin Pickard, and he's finally found, I think, a comfortable role in his career. He knows he's the backup. He's that, classic kind of, not even a 1B. He's really kind of the number 2 guy in Edmonton. But I think, like I said, they've given him a chance where he's, not being pressed or, knows if he has 2 bad games, he's going down to the AHL. And we're seeing him turn in some much better starts now. He's one of those guys who clearly needed to get into a rhythm. So that's a solid win for those guys. And, I didn't get to see much of that was only one of the later wins I had, that Pittsburgh game. But I saw where it was 2-1 earlier. And once again, that's one of those games where, try to cash in with live wagers. Same thing I was able to do with the Edmonton game with that second period goal in the first 5 minutes. We cashed that, but I was actually able to grab a little bit of that extra live with the first 10 minutes. I mean, it had to be seconds. The goal came in, I think, a minute and 5 or a minute and 6 seconds into the second period, but I was able to grab some just right as puck dropped for that second period. So that's something we're looking into a little bit more. And like I said, having those later games can kind of set you up where if you have a winning night early, you can kind of play around with these, and take some chances, take some risks. So it's something that I may not already have lined up, now or even heading into the early part of the night, which is why it's great to have nights like tonight with the betcast. But, if I have a good night, hit a few live wagers at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, then when the 9 o'clock, 9:30 games roll around, I can, take some shots with some of these things that we've been talking about, some of these theories we've been looking at.
That's definitely. And by the way, that trend that we're starting to track the last few days over the weekend and now into tonight is going to be a focal point of our live betting strategy tonight. We're going to look for those games with the 0 goals or 1 goal after the opening 20 minutes and look to pounce on a live goal in the first 10 minutes and probably a pre-period goal in the first 5 minutes. Goal in the first 5 minutes has been a little more erratic with the results, inconsistent, but goal in the first 10 has been really good for the most part the second period with these games that have 1 or fewer goals in the first period. Well, it's been a while since we've seen Matty Robb. It's been a little bit. Obviously was away last week in Nashville for a bit. Hopefully that went well. But Matt, good to have you back. And anything you want to add on last night?
Yeah, good to be back. Last night didn't have too much action going, but it was a profitable night. It would have been really profitable had that Sharks Pens game just gotten to 6, not even 7. I had a 4-game parlay of over 5.5 plus 940. All came down to that game. Thought it was dead, with 10 minutes left in the New Jersey Philadelphia game. Obviously that covered, so I was feeling good going into the last game, but had a few other overs couple first period overs that all seemed to do well, with obviously 4 of the other 5 games all soaring over the over. It was a pretty profitable night, but didn't catch a lot of the action, not a lot of appeal. The nice thing with that last game burning me on the parlay is I did have Sharks money line, so that was a nice plus price. It was one of those things where I think I saw Pittsburgh like minus 160, just wasn't going to take that
You just
ever. And
faded them
again,
at that price is what it was. Yeah.
yeah, and Pittsburgh's definitely a team that can lose to the Sharks. They're not a team that I worry, can beat the Sharks any night or anything like that. They can lose to anybody on any night. So given the price and that they're, a lower echelon team this season, it seemed like a good spot for the Sharks. But yeah, not too much yesterday. Looking forward to tonight. Obviously the betcast, but we've got a pretty good slate of games as well. So looking forward to get into it.
I'm just going to put this up. I heard Matty Rob got jumped in Nashville outside of a bar on Broadway. They called him soft and took his hey dudes off his feet is what I heard. You want to debunk that?
I don't even know what hey dudes are. Are those shoes?
Yeah. I
And
assume
yeah,
so. Yeah.
I spent a little bit of time on Broadway, not too much. It's not really my cup of tea, especially anymore. Nashville used to be very cool, very like old school. Now it's just pop country bullshit, and it honestly just feels like you're in LA. There's just people taking Instagram photos everywhere, ring lights and shit. So not what it used to be. Still a fun time, to go out and have some drinks down there, but definitely not my go-to spot anymore.
Wow. Thumbs down for the newer edition of Broadway there, or at least not as good as it used to be. Maybe not a total thumbs down, but
there's still cool spots. But what I should have said is when you're at a work event, you go to the Morgan Wallen bar or the Kid Rock bar because you're with a bunch of people that have never been to Nashville,
right.
And that's not really my cup of tea. There's still great divey spots that play, rock music and good shit down there. So I should have prefaced that, when you're with a bunch of people that you don't really know that well and you just go to the popular spots, it's not really my speed. But yeah.
Yep, I agree. It's I get where you're coming from with that. Hopefully, we're coming from a place where we're going to deliver a lot of winners here for the Tuesday slate. So let's get into it. We'll begin with Carolina taking on the New York Rangers, playoff rematch. There's a couple of them on the card tonight. This is one of them. We got Carolina minus 135, road favorites, 6 the total here, shaded to the under is what we're looking at here in this game. Obviously, the New York Rangers can't lose a game in more heartbreaking fashion than they did Sunday afternoon against the Colorado Avalanche. And it was not only heartbreaking for them, it was heartbreaking for us draw bettors in that game. It was a hideous sight to see that. 15 seconds to go, and there's Cale Makar joining the play out of the penalty box, feeds Lehkonen for a 2-on-1 goal to give Colorado a 5-4 regulation win over the New York Rangers. Rangers looking to bounce back from that. Rangers, actually, believe it or not, they've been a win-loss kind of team throughout the majority of the month of January. In fact, you go back to January 2nd, and this team hasn't, they haven't lost 2 in a row. So you give them credit. They couldn't buy a win in December, and here since January, every time they've lost, they've bounced back and they've won the next game. We'll see if that continues here tonight. Igor Shesterkin in net for the Rangers. Freddie Anderson in net for Carolina, and this is something we have to discuss. He's made 2 starts since he's been back. I don't think he's been any good in any of them, quite honestly, in these 2 starts. I think there's some real issues here. Maybe he's going to get his form back at some point, but I think it's more likely he probably gets hurt again before he gets the form back. 7 goals allowed in his first 2 starts combined for Frederik Andersen going into this game. So not exactly a goaltender I'm fully trusting right now. He's got a 3.47 goals against, 851 save percentage in those 2 games. The overall numbers, are still not bad for the year, but since he's been back from that long absence, I've not liked what I've seen. And concerning because now this year compared to last year, 2 years ago, that blue line is not as sturdy, in my opinion, in the defensive zone for this Carolina team. So that's a bit of an issue. Carolina's off a 3-2 overtime loss to the New York Islanders. It looked like they were starting to get some better traction on the road with those back-to-back victories against Chicago and Dallas last week. But still, it's a team with a below 500 road record on the year, 11-14. I'm going to take the Rangers here at plus 115 in this game, and I'm definitely going to take their team total as well here and look at that over 2.5. It's a cheap price in the minus 130 range. Again, we've talked about Freddie Anderson. He's given up 7 in the first 2 starts combined, 3 goals or more in each start. We only need 3 from the Rangers for this team total. So I like Rangers money line, Rangers team total over 2.5 minus 130. I like full game over if you can find a 5.5 as well. Because if you shop around, some books do have this total right now at 5.5. I do like it. And like I said, with Freddie Anderson in net, to me, that's kind of an over goalie right now when he's in net for this Carolina team. So that's what I'm going to look at here. I'm not doing the bifecta here. I could see it, if you want to turn it into a bifecta. The Rangers have scored. There has been a goal, I should say, in the first 10 minutes of New York Rangers games, 3 of their last 4, which is actually why, and I'll mention this now just to get out of the way. I have the Rangers game, the Blackhawks Lightning game, the Avalanche Islanders game, and the Stars Golden Knights game in a 4-game goal in the first 10 minutes of the first period parlay. And that comes out to about around plus 500. It's a combination of the teams are in good form to the goal in the first 10 lately. And in the situation with the Rangers, 3 of the last 4 just in the shorter term. And then with the Avalanche Islanders, 3 straight head-to-head meetings, there's been a goal in the first 10 minutes with those 2 teams. So it's just a variety of factors that had me taking a look at putting those 4 games in a goal in the first 10 minutes, first period parlay at plus 500. Again, that's the Hurricanes-Rangers game, Blackhawks-Lightning game, Avalanche-Islanders game, Stars-Golden Knights game. Alex, what do you think here? Carolina, New York Rangers.
Yeah, this is a great backcast game, and these are always interesting meetings whenever the Canes and Rangers meet up, right? We always talked about for years how you look at the stats, and this is going back like it was 15 years almost, where Hurricanes would outshoot Rangers by a 2-1 margin, and the Rangers would win 3-2 or 4-2. It was just very odd how that was going. But now, like I said, kind of had a back and forth battle over recent. Of course, they have playoff history as well. So I think this is going to be a fun game. I think there's going to be a lot of goals. We don't trust either goaltender, really. Obviously, Shesterkin you trust more than Anderson, but Anderson has just looked really slow and bad. So I will be on the over bifecta, but I'm playing over 5.5 pregame. Minus $1.25 is available at FanDuel and DraftKings. Playing it small. Of course, we have the betcast, so I'll be adding more on live. And I'll be playing the first period over live. It's already at minus $1.10. I'm seeing it Caesars in a couple of books, so just wait a couple minutes for that to cross in the plus money territory and grab some of that as well.
Yeah, Igor was not great against Colorado. No doubt he was not great against Colorado, but he was pretty good before that. He 1 goal allowed to Philly, the shutout against Ottawa before that. And yeah, not his best game against Colorado. I'll still favor him, and I'll still trust him a little bit more than Freddie Anderson right now. For the Carolina Hurricanes. That's for sure. Matt, what do you like here in this one, Canes and Rangers?
So at first glance, I really like the first period over in this one. I think, there's been some change up in Carolina. Obviously bringing in some scoring threats. Not that Nate just wasn't a scoring threat, but obviously Rantanen being who he is, they're trying to produce more offense. New York's offense has picked up a bit, but their goalies are still question marks pretty consistently. So I do like goals in this one as well. I think what I'm going to do, since first glance, I love the first period over, and I'm seeing the total at 6, this is a perfect spot for the same game parlay. First period over, full game over at 5.5. I'll put that in pregame, and then we'll also look for some live looks. If there is a slow 3 or 4 minutes, then maybe we jump on over 1.5 at a plus price. So. Pre-game, I think I'll just be on the same game parlay. Sort of lean Carolina here, but just don't want to lay minus 135 on them. It's a pretty decent sized card. New York's at home, so we'll just take the totals on this one and move on.
Yeah, I get it. I get the caution with Carolina. Anderson and net. Plus, Rangers have been a win-loss team all month here in January. So there's a great stat. That backs me up with the goal in the first 10 minutes. Terry saying Rangers 18-5 at home this year, a goal in the first 10 minutes. So there we go. It's a good parlay leg, I think, for that, no doubt. So like I said, makes sense to look in that direction. As far as props for this game, I'm not a big shots on goal prop person, but one that I actually bet one tonight here in this game. Mikko Rantanen over 2.5 shots on goal, -130 to -140 is the price with that at most books. He had 5 shots on goal in his Carolina Hurricanes debut on Saturday against the New York Islanders, and I could see him shooting the puck a ton until he gets this first goal with the team. You know, you want to get it over with, right? You're with a new team. You're trying to assimilate yourself as quickly as possible. You want to get that first goal. And until you get it, I think you're going to be looking to shoot the puck quite a bit and try to, look for your offense. So, like I said, I think this is not a bad angle to consider here with the Rantanen over shots on goal. He had 5 in the game against the Islanders, and you only need 3 from him here to go over that shots on goal number. So I think that definitely makes a little bit of sense here. You just want to get that first goal with your new team as quickly as possible. So I expect him to be aggressive. I expect him to be shooting the puck quite a bit, and we'll see if that continues here tonight with him. He's playing with Aho, and I think Jackson Blake is a good prop option on the second line. They're going to slot in Taylor Hall with Kotkaniemi and Svechnikov. Looks like that's going to be on the second line for Carolina tonight. But Jackson Blake is, I think, the value. I think he will thrive more often than as time goes on that line for sure. And then for the New York Rangers, I'm always more interested in the foot soldiers. Lafreniere obviously had a good game the other against Colorado, but Cooley, I would be interested in Kaliev. Anyone on that fourth line's capable of lighting it up for the Rangers because they play hard every night. So I would go down the board looking at props for the Rangers in this one. All right, Chicago, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay -400 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Scary scene at morning skate for the Lightning. Kucherov took a tumble, but nothing serious. He's okay. Big sigh of relief for John Cooper and the Tampa Bay Lightning, but he's okay. He's good to go. He avoided anything catastrophic, so he'll be fine and in the lineup here tonight for the Lightning. But boy, that was a scary moment there, and I saw the footage of it. Yeah, it was the moment you're like, oh shit. But no, everything's okay. He's good, and he'll be in tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Arvid Soderblom in net for Chicago, of course, did everything in his power when he faced Tampa Bay Friday night in the Windy City to get 2 points on the board for his Blackhawks. But unfortunately, they tied it in the final minute on that power play. And then, of course, they got another power play in overtime and were able to get the win there in that game. We should see Vasilevsky for the Lightning. That's not confirmed, but I would expect it, obviously, to be him here in this game tonight for Tampa Bay. Obviously, Tampa Bay is a massive -400 home favorite here. This is always that price range where it's almost auto bet take a shot with the dog. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I mean, I wouldn't talk anyone out of it. I mean, I know Tampa Bay is clearly, better team. They're at home. But boy, oh boy, I mean, +3. Anytime I see a 400 favorite, I'm tempted to look for some kind of pizza money on the other side on the big dog. But you know what I like most of all, and of course, we've been hammering it. It's the best streak going in the NHL. It's still the best streak going in the NHL. It was 11 straight overs. We finally saw one fall short when they played Nashville, Chicago a couple weeks ago, and since then they've ripped off 4 more overs in a row to get to 15-1 to the first period over for the Chicago Blackhawks in their last 16 games. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're back on the train tonight. First period over 1.5 here with this one. -135 looks like Fanatics Sportsbook, best price currently with that first period over. It is a bifecta. I will go over 6, but obviously, like with all these Chicago games, we're definitely more toward, it's like a 80-20 type of deal as far as more first period over than full game over for me and percentage wise. So first period over primarily and a little bit smaller on the full game over here for me. Alex, and plus Blackhawks Lightning part of that goal in the first 10 minutes of the first period parlay that I mentioned. Alex, Chicago, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, so of course we're riding the first period over. As you mentioned, there's $1.35 available at Fanatics. There's $1.41 available at ESPN Bet. Those are the only good prices I'm seeing now as of right at this moment. So with this, I would say recommend betting this in game, grabbing this. Like I said, don't wait too long. We're not trying to grab plus money here because of the goal first 10-minute prop. We're looking for just a -$1.20, $1.15. So we're waiting 1 to 2 minutes in. So this will be one of the first things we'll do on the betcast. We'll be trying to grab this first period over at a better price. But I also do like the Hawks +1.5 for the full game. Plus 125. I'm seeing it in a couple of spots. So anywhere plus 120, plus 125. I don't do that often, but I'm going to take the points here with the Hawks on the goal line, plus 1.5.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think if Tampa wins by a goal, if they win, I don't know if they're going to romp here. I think Chicago, Chicago Chicago did not play well against Minnesota, but I think that was more. Minnesota was pissed. Minnesota came out they weren't screwing around. John Hines got after them. They were terrible against Calgary, and they came out and they meant business against Chicago. And I think that was more Minnesota. Just they were all business, and then Chicago was that bad. I think Minnesota made them bad, not that Chicago on their own played bad in that game against Sunday. So against the Wild on Sunday. So I would think the Blackhawks will have a better effort here. Again, it's hard to trust them to win, but the plus 1.5 is not a bad option. I just get that feeling it's a tight game for Tampa tonight. But obviously what I like most, first and foremost, is the overs, especially the first period over. Matt, what do you think here? Blackhawks Lightning.
Don't fix what's not broken. First period over will definitely be a play that I'm on pregame. And as Alex mentioned, I will also be trying to get a better price live. Still going to put a little bit on pregame just on the off chance, we get that goal in the first 45 seconds or something. But, if it does get down to even money, I'll probably double down on it pretty heavy. Typically, when Tampa's playing, a lower 10 team in the league at home, I love Tampa Bay team total. Unfortunately, tonight it's like minus 175, so I'm definitely not gonna jump on that. So really, as you mentioned, Ian, I think anytime I see plus 300 or more, maybe it's worth some beer money to throw on the Hawks here. But I do think Tampa gets the win, so I do like the plus 1.5 look out of Chicago. But I think for me, the only play I'll have pregame will be that first period over.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going right back to the well. Why not? I said when he scored against Tampa on Friday for the first, and I said he's with Bedard. If he gets a goal, watch him go on a run. Scored again. I used him as a bargain bin Sunday night against Minnesota. Frank Nazar playing on that top line with Connor Bedard and Tyler Bertuzzi. If it ain't, there's another one. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Going for his third straight game with a goal. You keep riding it right now. And the prices are still phenomenal. And because they're such a big underdog tonight in Tampa Bay, you're getting Frank Nazar up to plus 500 in some spots to score a goal tonight. Yeah,
here's what's so crazy about it. Because of this, like I said, high price with Tampa. If you go to FanDuel, every Chicago Blackhawks player is bargain bin worthy, starting with Connor Bedard plus 310. So that's something you don't get too often.
No. Now, there's always the question, you're facing Vasilevsky, who has got great numbers against Chicago historically. But like I said, that's the reason why you're getting these great prices. It's still worth taking a shot with a couple of even. Bedard plus 310 is unheard of. But that's what you're getting tonight. No question, because of the opponent and how big of an underdog. That's another thing you'll notice with the goal props. The prices will be a little bit better for players on teams that are a big underdog for that particular game. And you're definitely seeing that here tonight. But yeah, that's the one that stands out for me, certainly, is looking at Frank Nazar. You've got the Troopers back, Jason Dickinson, Mikheyev, and Tara Vinen. Looks like that's your second line there for Chicago. For Tampa Bay, there are a couple props there I'm interested in for them. Connor Geekie, think worth a look on that second line with Cirelli and Hagel. I'm going back to the well with Brandon Hagel again as well, just because he's facing his old team, Chicago. And Nick Paul, why not? Nick Paul's been pretty good to me lately with some of these goal props. So Nick Paul once again for Tampa Bay. All right, Boston and Buffalo. Pretty much even money right now. Minus 110. The total 6 across the board, shaded to the under. A couple books have 5.5. One thing I can tell you, I don't have the exact consecutive game win streak it is for Boston in Buffalo, but one thing I know off the top of my head is it's been a long time since the Bruins have lost in Buffalo. Okay, a very long time. I can't remember the last time the Bruins lost in Buffalo. It's been a very long time. You've obviously got Buffalo off the 4-game road trip out west. 1-3 on that trip. The only win was that comeback third period win against Vancouver. They lost 6-4 at Seattle, 5-2 at Calgary, 3-2 at Edmonton. They played pretty well in the Edmonton game, but they fall short. They lose by 1. Now they're back home off that road trip. It's Boston or pass for me. Probably a pass. I'm not rushing to take Boston either, but it's been dominance for the Bruins. 8-2 in the series in the last 10. But I think at least going back in the last 10, they've won 4 straight in Buffalo. And I think it goes back even further how long the Bruins have had dominance here over the Buffalo Sabres here in Buffalo. So this is probably a game that I stay off. The draw doesn't even appeal to me because we haven't had many between these two teams. So as of right now, nothing, side or total for me in this game with the Bruins and the Sabres. And here's the thing. Buffalo's been a good first period and full game over team at times for me lately, for sure. But Boston has not been that way. So it's kind of a conflict there as well with this game. Alex, what do you think here? Bruins, Sabres.
I didn't overthink this one. This is Boston, minus $1.10. They said great track record against Buffalo. I think this could be a game where I think it's going to be a boring game. And I could just see with this one kind of just being sleepy, kind of a 2-1, 2-2 kind of a contest. And then Boston gets a couple of goals late and wins it. So Bruins minus $1.10 is the only play I got.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that, says Terry Ray Vegas with his prop for Boston. You got to bet Morgan Geekie right now. Morgan Geekie's been excellent for the Boston Bruins, no question.
Yeah.
He's really stepped up.
First goal look, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And that happened against there was one game recently where he scored the first. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
He scored the first goal for Boston, I think, in 2 of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the first goal of the game last game, but he got the first goal against Colorado when they were down 2-0. So.
Yeah, I think definitely that's something you've got to look at is Morgan Geekie first goal. Certainly Morgan Geekie just to score a goal, which is plus 270. It's not bargain bin, but plus 270 is still a good bet for the way he's going right now, no doubt. Charlie Coyle with Patra and Marchand maybe look in that direction as well. What's been impressive for Boston here is, you look at the recent record they've had. They're now 5-2 in their last 7 games. They've still had the injuries on the back end. McAvoy's been out. Lindholm's still out. Now Brandon Carlo, by the way, may not play. Game time decision with an illness tonight for Boston in this game. So they really could be short. I think Jordan Osterley would go into the lineup if Carlo doesn't go, to join Lowry and Wotherspoon and Callahan Auto Parts, Michael Callahan, Peak, and Zadorov. I mean, it is a banged-up blue line, but they've still been able to find ways to win despite it. Matt, what do you think here, Bruins Sabres?
This is going to be a pass game for me, especially pregame. I agree with Alex. I think it's going to be a fairly boring game. If we're on the betcast and, pace is there, I think this could be a potential, over spot if we get it down to 5.5, 5, something like that, if there's some pace to it. But maybe a game I have on one of my screens, but definitely not anything that I have pregame. Boston's burned me a lot this year. I do lean them, but it seems like every time I take them, they don't score a single goal. So I don't like to take overs on them right now, and I'm not going to take a side. Buffalo is one of those spotty teams where randomly they'll win a game 6-1, and you're like, oh, maybe they're back, and then they lose 3 in a row. But yeah, this is a weird one for me. So given the card and that we're going to be on the show, I'll probably pass on this one.
All right. Next up, we've got Winnipeg, Montreal. This is the Patrick Laine Bowl taking place here tonight. Patrick Laine against his not only his former team, because he's 2 former teams, Columbus, of course, as well, but this is original team, the team that drafted him. The Winnipeg Jets heading to Montreal to take on the Canadiens. We've got Winnipeg minus 170, road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. This line's climbed a bit, I think, because Hellebuck got confirmed. So that probably explains it a little bit. And they're fully healthy, too. There were a couple of injuries. Ehlers was out, but Winnipeg's got a fully healthy team except for Adam Lowry. Adam Lowry's the only injury they've got right now. But other than that, they've got everyone back. So he's the only person out of the lineup. Sam Montembeault starting here for Montreal. Montreal with an overtime loss in their last game against New Jersey, 4-3 in overtime. Winnipeg with the 3 straight wins at Colorado. They went home for 2 in a row to face Utah and Calgary, and they won both of those games by identical 5-2 scores. We'll see if they can maintain that here in this game tonight against Montreal. One thing about this series with the Jets and the Habs, Montreal's actually up 6-4, 6-4 in the last 10 head-to-head meetings. And if you actually look here in Montreal, the Habs have taken 4 of the last 5 here at the Bell Center against this Winnipeg Jets team. So absolutely, it's a Montreal team that has certainly battled Winnipeg tough. Winnipeg at still a pretty solid 14-9 is a pretty good road record, but it's still not as good as the way they play at home. Montreal Plus Minnesota, Anaheim, San Jose after this. And what do we know about Montreal? I know they've lost 2 in a row here to Detroit and New Jersey, but this is a team, and the Toronto game was the one game against an upper echelon foe that they didn't do well in, but they've done more than their share of good against some of these better teams as well. The Vegas win, the Colorado win, the Dallas win, the Washington win, the Tampa and the Florida win. You go on down the list. These are the spots as done underdog, whether it's home or road against the better teams, that Montreal's been thriving in these situations. And let's not forget, the Toronto game, they started out extremely well in that game, and then it fell apart for them in the third period of that loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is one where I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a first period full game money line split on Montreal, thinking that Montreal comes out hot, which they've done in a lot of these games against the better teams. You think back to that Toronto game again at home, it was 3-0 Montreal after the first period. Then it kind of fell apart. So again, we like the way Winnipeg's playing, but we like getting Montreal at this price. First period full game money line split for me on Montreal here against the Jets tonight. Total, very interesting. I'd actually lean maybe a bit to the under, just a little bit, because if you start to look at Montreal lately, goaltending's been pretty solid. At home, I know the Montreal game, or the New Jersey game, I should say, was up and over the total. But just get a sense we might get a little bit of a lower scoring affair here with the Jets and the Habs, and certainly the series history does bear that out. We are looking at 4-1-1 to the under in the last 6 meetings here between the Jets and the Habs. So yeah, I think Montreal's worth a shot at this price here. They've consistently stepped up and given these top tier teams their best effort and their best performance. We'll see if it's enough for them tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Winnipeg, Montreal.
Yeah, this is a dog and draw split for me. I'm looking at, like I said, Habs. I got plus 155 actually earlier this morning, but I grabbed plus 340 with the draw. So I do think this could be kind of a close one. Obviously, you got a battle of two, future Four Nations goalies going against each other. You got Hellebuck going up against Montembeault, but Jonathan Davis mentioned in the chat, Montembeault 1-4 against Winnipeg. So, but like I said, we kind of can't carry his overall records with a whole lot of weight, right? The way that he's played now, far different from where he was, the backup in Florida, or even, the lad, or first season and a half in Montreal. So I don't really look at his past numbers and take that too heavy, because we're seeing a different form of Montembeault right now. So like I said, I like the dog here, but I think it's going to be a kind of a close back and forth game. So I do have a little bit of the draw as well.
All right, dog and draw split for Alex here. What do you think here in this one, Matt? Winnipeg, Montreal.
This one's interesting. I think this is definitely a game I want to bet live as well. Again, with pace, if there's some pace to it early, I might jump on some overs. I do like that Montreal team total. It's minus 110, minus 115 to get just those 3 goals. I think if there is some pace to it, both teams could easily get to 3. So I might jump on that a little bit, and I'd probably split it up whatever I was going to bet and throw the other part on Montreal money line. So similar to Alex, but this one's more a live game for me. I think I like the overs. It's one of those things, though. You could see a few saves early, and Hellebuck could be on his game, and maybe it's a game that ends 2-1 in overtime or something like that. So probably wait and see for this one. But it should be a good game to watch, nevertheless.
That's the beauty of this being a betcast card and a betcast night. We can always wait. If we don't love everything pregame, wait for things to develop and unfold on the betcast tonight as the games are in progress, and go from there. It's definitely a good strategy to take, considering what we've got coming here tonight with the live betcast. And by the way, Gabe Vilardi, we've talked about him recently here for Winnipeg. He's been in good form, 6 points, 3 goals in the last 3 games for them. Certainly someone you could consider for goal prop right now, the way he's been feeling it. He's been getting it done for them. Obviously, Patrick Laine against his old team. I'm not going to talk anyone out of Patrick Laine props. He'll be chomping at the bit. And I think Slavkovsky is starting to get a little bit his offense, his goal scoring going right now for Montreal. So there's a couple I'd maybe consider here tonight. All right, Avs and Islanders. Colorado minus 135, road favorites, 6 the total. Historically, the Islanders are thought of as an under team, and this year not nearly as much, and certainly since Patrick Waugh has been there, not nearly as much. But they're not a shoe-in every night to have a high-scoring game, that's for sure. And the over-under record bears it out. They're a dead even 23 overs, 23 unders, 2 pushes this year. The New York Islanders. In fact, Colorado, same thing: 24 overs, 24 unders, 3 pushes. So these two teams are dead even as far as overs and unders on the campaign. But you get the Islanders and the Avs together, head to head, it's been goals galore. 6-1 to the over in the last 7 meetings, 3-0 to the over the last 3 meetings. The games, particularly here in Long Island or at Elmont, here at UBS Arena, we had a 7-4 game, a 5-4 game, a 5-4 game in the last 3 meetings here in this building. It's been pretty crazy to see just how high scoring it has been with the Avs and the Islanders. So this is a bit of a surprise here that I'm actually liking over by Fecta here in this game, Avalanche and Islanders. 3 straight head-to-head meetings, goal in the first 10 minutes in the first period. 3 straight meetings, the first period over has cashed as well between these two teams. And like I said as well, 3 straight meetings, we've seen the full game over hit as well. In fact, the 3 first period scores were 2-1 Islanders in 2 of them and 2-1 Colorado in the other. So 2-1 for somebody has been a very common end of first period score between these two teams lately. So, yeah, we're buying into some series history more than anything here with these bets. Sorokin and Blackwood in net. You know, Sorokin, when he faces better teams, better offenses, you know, he's not someone that consistently shuts the door. And don't look now, Blackwood, this incredible run of 2 goals or fewer that he went through December, through January. I mean, it was unreal. It was incredible. He went through almost double-digit starts in a row, giving up 2 goals or less. Well, since January I'm just trying to bring the game log. There we go. Since January 16th, his last 4 starts, he's given up at least 3 goals in each start, and he's given up a grand total of 14 goals in his last 4 starts, Mackenzie Blackwood. So we're seeing a little bit of a leveling off from him, a little bit of regression. I mean, he was putting up Marty Brodeur type numbers there for a bit when he first started with the Avs, but starting to come back down to earth a little bit. And another reason why I think we could see the Islanders chip in and make an impact here offensively tonight. And I think Colorado gets theirs. And when these teams have gotten together in every recent meeting, that's what we've seen. We've seen the offenses have success. So first period over, full game over by Fecta. And again, this is part of my goal in the first 10 minutes, first period parlay as well. Alex, what do you think here? Avs, Islanders.
So yeah, that's interesting. You were mentioning about the 2-1 scores. I was just kind of looking, of course, at FanDuel. You get first period correct score. Avs 2-1 plus 1,300. Isles plus 2-1 plus 1,500. So that's something to maybe look at, and even over 2 in the first period, over plus 160 at MGM. I'm just gonna go with the over by factors, play them small, and then add on in game. Like I said, we're seeing a 5.5 at FanDuel minus 125. So that's something I want to try and get down to minus $1.10 or cheaper. Obviously, first period over, we're waiting for that to cross into the plus money territory. So, like I said, riding the system, well, not the system, but riding the series trends between these two teams and going over in the first and full game.
There we go. Matt, what about you here? Colorado, New York Islanders.
Yeah, kind of same boat. I think this is another good SGP opportunity over first period, full game over 5.5. You know, the Avs Saturday got the news, you know, the night before about the big trade, kind of laid an egg against Boston, but obviously came back Sunday, had a big game, kind of a wild finish there to get the win there in New York. And the Islanders have had 3 goals in all 3 of their last 3 games as well. So I think goals in this game is very fair to say. I think Colorado will kind of back in rhythm. You know, obviously Saturday was sort of a shock, but clearly by Sunday they kind of forgot about it. You know, had a nice dinner down there after beating the Rangers, and so I think they'll come out and play well today. They didn't have to travel. They had probably a nice relaxing day yesterday, maybe a pregame skate today. So I could see both teams coming out scoring goals. I could see this being like a 5-4 type game. So I think with the first period and full game over, I think that's a safe bet here.
Everyone's favorite bad boy of the National Hockey League is back, as Jonathan mentioned in the chat. Tony DeAngelo back in the NHL again here, and given this option of all people, Sweet Lou, giving him this opportunity here with the Islanders. He's in the lineup tonight too. He's paired with Romanov on that second pairing. Adam Pelech, Scott Mayfield, the top pair. Isaiah George, Scott Perunovich, who they got from the St. Louis Blues, and boy, with the injury to Ryan Pulock, it's a really good thing they got Scott Perunovich to give them at least some kind of depth on that blue line with the injuries to Pulock. Riley's still out. Noah Dobson's still on IR. So there are still some key injuries back there. But Tony DeAngelo is expected to be in the lineup. And his goal prop is plus 950 is the best price at Betano. It's plus 700 at Bet Rivers. It's plus 750 at Caesars. Plus 600 at the Score Bet. 700 at Bet Rivers, like I said. So there are still a handful of websites or sports books that have Tony DeAngelo goal props tonight. So if you're interested in that, and as Jonathan brings up, he scored 5 goals in 7 games versus Mackenzie Blackwood. So pretty crazy stat. And look, some of those have been hitting with the players that have the great track record against a specific goalie. Look at Dougie Hamilton last night. That was plus 600 for Jonathan with that against Ersson, noting that he's had a lot of success against him. So these are stats that are worth keeping in mind when a particular player has good success against a specific goalie. That could be the right time to get in with a goal prop. I'm going to take a shot with Natchez over 2.5 shots. Same strategy as with Rantanen for Carolina. You want to get that first goal. Get it out of the way. Get that first goal if you're Marty Natchez with the Colorado Avalanche, and I expect him to be shooting the puck quite a bit. He had 3 shots on goal against the Rangers on Sunday. But if he has 3 shots on goal tonight, there's your over 2.5. That's all he needs is 3 shots on goal. So I think that's probably worth a look tonight as well. All right, Washington, Calgary. We've got the Washington Capitals minus 140, road favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. Man, this is Washington off a loss where they've just been so absolutely spectacular. And obviously they lost 2-1 in Vancouver Saturday night. They've been just monsters off a loss. What are they at? Just a couple of 2-game losing streaks all year. That's it. Every other game off a loss, they've bounced back and they've won. So this is absolutely, I had my eye on Washington here at minus 140, but I'm on the fence with it as far as whether I'm going to bet it. It's certainly Washington or pass, but in a game like this, when you've got obviously, and to Calgary's credit, they've played a couple of nice games in a row. Dustin Wolf's on just a heater right now, and that's another concern. I don't know if I want to go against this kid right now. He's been absolute money in the bank. What a goaltending matchup. And then just as hot, if not hotter than him right now, is Logan Thompson, who is just lights out. He's been spectacular. So what a goaltending matchup this is going to be. Yeah, 13-2. There it is off a loss for Washington this season. Logan Thompson got the money. You would think, wow, got to bet on him. Great, great money. He's going to want to. Sometimes that goes in the other way. You get the big contract, you get the big extension, and you have a fucking, clunker of a game that first game. I've seen that before. I remember Paul Maurice got his extension early this year, head coach of Florida. The first game after the extension, they got buried, I remember. I think Minnesota went in there and beat them 5-2. So it's not always that, bet on the guy that just got the big contract. Sometimes fading him is the way to go, but he's been on a roll. That's just going on some crackpot theory. Let's fade Logan Thompson because he got paid. I can't do that, not in the form he's in, and not with Washington off a loss. They've been great. I lean Washington, but I'm on the fence. Dustin Wolf's playing almost every bit as good right now in net as Thompson. More than anything, I'd say take the under here. Where are the goals going to come from? I think it's going to be a goalie battle. I think it's certainly 2 of the goalies that are playing just on the peak of their game right now. Probably is a 3-1, 3-2 type of game for somebody here tonight, maybe even 2-1 with just how well Thompson and Wolf are playing right now. Alex, what do you think here? Capitals, Flames.
So this is the game. I have the draw in pocket, but I'm looking forward to betting this live. I'm looking forward to watching this game live. This is arguably the game of the night. And one thing I did do with Logan Thompson, it's not anything related to this game, but just as far as a future bet, I'm just taking some looks at the board of looking at the awards. And obviously, we know how great of a run Connor Hellebuyck has had. But there's no reason why he should be literally minus 2,000 to minus 3,000 at most books. Meanwhile, if you shop around for Logan Thompson, you can still get him plus 2,000, 20 to 1 odds at FanDuel right now, where some books have him as low as plus 575, 10 to 1, 12 to 1. So I grabbed some Logan Thompson plus 2,000 at FanDuel. That's a full unit play that I have. I grabbed that this morning to win the Vezina. He's definitely going to be one of the 3 finalists with the record that he has right now. And the fact that Hellebuck has already won a couple, I don't see why this is such a split where it's literally Hellebuck versus the field. So Logan Thompson to win the Vezina Trophy is the bet I made. And then as far as this game goes tonight, I'm waiting for it live, but I will have a little bit of the draw. I got plus 325.
And believe it or not, this is one of the better games tonight. Certainly the goalie matchup. If you like goalies that are playing at the top of their game, you're going to like this game tonight. And Dustin Wolf's been even better at the Saddle Dome on home ice. You know, his numbers overall are pretty good, but there has been the odd road game where maybe he's not been nearly as good. Part of that's the team in front of him, but at home, he's been dynamite for the Calgary Flames. So, yeah, it's a great goalie battle tonight in this game. What do you think here, Matt? Washington, Calgary.
Yeah, with 2 great goalies, I think this is literally a full pass for me pregame. But as Alex mentioned, it's one that I'm excited to watch. Just don't really have a lean here. And I think both goalies are capable of coming out and posting a donut on any given night. So, you could take a shot with Calgary plus 120 and then, Logan Thompson goalies or, vice versa. So I think I'll just enjoy this one and sit back with no bets.
With the chance that goals could be scarce tonight in this game, be careful with the goal props. Don't pepper the board with them for this game, but I will throw out a couple: Dubois and Protas for Washington, and then for Calgary, I'd maybe consider as far as a goal prop tonight here. Peltier playing with Kadri and Huberdeau, great value, and Jacob Peltier has played really well the last few games for Calgary. All right, next up we've got Dallas and Vegas. Didn't we just see these 2 teams? Yes, we did. We saw them on Friday night in Dallas, and now here they are again, this time at T-Mobile in Vegas. We've got the Golden Knights minus 125, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Obviously, revenge spot for Vegas. They fell to Dallas on Friday night, so they'll be looking for redemption. Doesn't mean I'm running to bet Vegas, but it's something that's probably enough to keep me off betting Dallas here in this game. And look, full marks to Jake Ottinger for preserving the win on Friday night. A couple of saves he made. He made a save right when the final horn went, and then the one he made before that with the glove save, just absolute robbery in the final minute, was just a spectacular save there to keep Dallas ahead. Vegas made a really strong push in that third period, but the Stars survived with a 4-3 win. Pretty solid win for the Stars. Played a really good game, but I thought in the third period they were hanging on a bit, but look, Vegas, a good team. They're going to press down by a goal, and Dallas, survived, and Ottinger made a few big saves for them. So credit to them. And as impressive as that win was, I think it might have been just as impressive, if maybe not so much after seeing St. Louis last night be terrible again against the Vancouver Canucks. But at the time, it was impressive. It's a back-to-back, a big win against Vegas. You went on the road against St. Louis, and you got a 2-0 shutout win over the Blues. And DeSmith was really good because the Blues did carry the play in that game, but Casey DeSmith came in, got a shutout win. So Dallas will look to make it 3 in a row here in this game. You got Vegas, meanwhile, trying to get some momentum going because it's been a kind of a bad stretch for them since the middle of January. Just 2-5 in their last 7 games, but they did win against Florida 4-1 at home on Sunday night. Now they take on a Dallas team they just lost to the other night. We'll see how this one plays out. These teams have played each other twice this season. The home team has won each game. They played back in December. Vegas got a 3-2 win here in that game. So I'll be honest, I do lean Vegas, but I don't know. Vegas is still a little flighty to me, but I get why people like Vegas. It's a Vegas or pass spot for me, but I'm opting to pass. I'm opting to pass here as far as taking Vegas. I understand it, why people like them. Revenge spot at home. They won at home against Dallas earlier this year, but yeah, every time I've taken Vegas lately, it hasn't gone well. So that's enough to keep me off, but I do lean that way here tonight. We'll start with Matt on this one. as the Dallas Stars fan. Maddie, what do you think for your Stars tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights, who will be looking for redemption after the Friday night loss?
Yeah, I think this will be obviously one of the more enjoyable games, at least for me.
Every
But
Dallas Stars game is enjoyable. Who are you bullshitting?
yeah, but it's it's two quote unquote contenders, two top 10 teams. So I think it'll be a good game. Obviously, a revenge spot for Vegas. Um, I don't want to run and bet Vegas. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. Those 3 wins, they beat an injured Wild team. They beat St. Louis in a shootout, I believe, and then they had that nice win against Florida on Sunday. But Florida had the back-to-back in that Wild game against San Jose the night before. Not looking to rush them. I think lately with me, I obviously catch a lot of Vegas games living here in Reno. It's on local TV. Jack Eichel is having another, MVP caliber year, but there's a huge drop off after him, at least as of late with Vegas. I think Eichel has more assists than anyone on the team has points, and he still has 15 goals. So he's clearly carrying the load. But I just haven't seen the depth out of Vegas that, you see in some of those playoff runs they had, and obviously with their cup run. But it is a revenge spot. I'm not going to bet Dallas here. It's going to be a pass on the sides for me. I just think it's hard to bet against a Jake Ottinger that's 8-2 in his last 10. I just think this will be a really good game. The only play outside of maybe some props on this one, I do like a first period over. I just think every time these two teams play, it's like 1-1 6 minutes into the game. It just seems to happen. So that's
exactly
probably
what
where
happened
I would
Friday
look.
night. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a pretty common thing. Even when they're in the playoffs, it seems like, there's a couple goals early and then both teams kind of settle in. So I think that'll probably be my only play here is the first period over. But obviously a game I'm hoping to enjoy. And I think, it should be a good game. I think as much as it's a revenge spot for Vegas, Dallas and Jamie Benn and those guys don't need any motivation to play against Vegas either. So should be a fun one to watch tonight. I think it's 7:00 local time, so it'll be a later game on the Betcast.
Yeah, it'll be a late one. It'll be probably the highlight game of the later part of the slate. Certainly of the 10 Eastern games, there's no doubt this will be the spotlight game for sure. Yeah, that first period over, I think that I will add that, because on looking on it more, you're right about how series history, just Friday night, the first period over cashed easily. And Vegas has had a goal in the first 10 minutes of their games, 5 straight. And Dallas, 9 of their last 11 games, there's been a goal in the first 10 minutes. So, get one more goal besides that, and there's your first period over. So, yeah, I think first period over probably worth a bet. Definitely like that more than the full game. I'm on the fence. First period over, I can get there with that here tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Dallas, Vegas.
Yeah, another game that I'm glad will be for the Betcast tonight. I will be on the first period over. Small pregame, adding more in-game, but then I'm looking at that live under. I'm hoping that we cash, like you said, a 1-1 quickly, and then I'm going to go look for under 7.5 minus 130. Even up to 135 would probably be my high parameter cut. So that's the way I'm attacking this game tonight. First period over, and then looking for a live under.
No doubt. And then as far as the prop market goes right now, talked about Jason Robertson. He's feeling it. Wyatt's starting to get going. I like Dodonov again. How many times do I have to say Dodonov? But my goodness, I mean, he's been great lately, taking him on that top line. It was still the very good prices that are being offered. And it's that classic situation where he's not priced like Jason Robertson, even though he's on that top. He's plus 450 to score a goal tonight, Evgeny Dodonov. So it's got to be a consideration. There's no doubt with that price. Bork, Duchesne, and Ben's been a nice line for them as well. So any of those, Duchesne obviously has had a great longer-term streak, no doubt, of offensive production and capability. Dorofeyev's my favorite for the Vegas Golden Knights with Hurdle and Olofsson. Probably worth a look there as far as goal prop tonight on their side. I'm waiting on Barbashev to get going because Barbashev's really hit the skids here all of a sudden from a goal scoring standpoint. This guy hasn't scored since December 14th. It's a month and a half ago for a guy that was red hot to start the year. So, but Dorofeyev is clearly, easily the number one choice for me for a goal prop for Vegas here in this game tonight. All right, final game for Tuesday's card. We've got Anaheim and Seattle. We've got the Seattle Kraken minus 130 home favorites. The total here sitting at 6, shaded to the under in this game. It's been a disappointing, game last night, I should say, for the Seattle Kraken. They lose 4-2 to the Oilers. They have the 2-1 lead after the first period, but they were not able to hold it. Oilers with the 3 unanswered goals. We'll see if the Kraken have it in them to bounce back here. One thing Mikey in our chat mentioned, and great stats on Seattle on the back-to-back. They've been awful this year on the back-to-back. Terrible. And especially they haven't scored many goals on the back-to-backs this year. They are winless this season on the back-to-backs, 0-7. And you look at these games, they got shut out in 3 of those back-to-backs. Dallas shut them out. Boston shut them out. The New York Rangers shut them out. They only scored 2 in the other 4 games that they lost on a back-to-back. So if you trust Anaheim defensively with that kind of track record, do you take an under 3.5 with Seattle team total tonight? I mean, I'm taking it. I'm betting that. Seattle team total under 3.5. And now you got to lay some juice. You could go 2.5 at plus money, alternative team total. And maybe that's worth a bet too, especially at the plus price for a Seattle team that in 7 back-to-back games this year, 7 games on a back-to-back, they've scored 2 or fewer. So maybe take a shot with the alternative team total under on Seattle going into this game. It's like it's worth consideration when you've been that bad, losing games and just failing to generate offense and failing to score. They haven't scored 3 goals or more in any game on a back-to-back this year, Seattle. It might be worth a shot for sure. Meanwhile, on the flip side, you got an Anaheim team facing Philip Grubauer here in this game, who we know is a downgrade at this stage of his career with the way he's played from Joey Decord. And obviously he'll be in because it's a back-to-back. The last time we saw Grubauer, he got yanked in the first period. I remember that game. It was at Detroit on that road trip. It was just brutal start for him. 3 quick goals, and he was out of there in just 6 minutes and 16 seconds. And before that, he gave up 5-3-3-3 before that. So it's one of those deals where I like the Seattle team total under. It's one of those deals, too, where from an Anaheim standpoint, I kind of like their team total over 2.5, which you can get at minus 138, minus 140. I prefer doing that rather than the Ducks money line. Ducks money line, I probably should add on Anaheim money line too, because Seattle's 0-7 on the back-to-back. But I don't like the money line as much. I prefer attacking those 2 team totals more than the money line. The money line will be a smaller bet if I take Anaheim. Primarily, I'm looking at Seattle team total under, Anaheim team total over. Seattle team total under 3.5 with lay a little juice, but worth it in my opinion. And Anaheim team total over 2.5, which you can get in the minus 140 range or so. Alex, what do you think here in this one? Final game, Anaheim, Seattle. Oh, I think we lost him. I see the frozen image. So we'll go to Matt. Lost in space right now. Alex B. Smith.
You got me now?
We got you now. You're back.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, my internet just hit. I don't know what the hell. Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm not playing the Anaheim money line either. I'm just going with their team total over. I get what you're saying with Seattle's team total under. That they've struggled time with that. The biggest thing the biggest takeaway for me is that Anaheim, like I said, we've been cashing with their team totals over, and Grubauer is a guy that we simply cannot trust. So I'm going over team total over 2.5, minus 142. I see. So I'm playing it kind of small pregame. Maybe look to add on if we can get a better price at the beginning, but over 2.5 with Anaheim, not touching anything with Seattle under, because they've had such a high track record against Anaheim. This could be one of those games that just gets crazy and goes over the total. So just going with team total with Anaheim.
I lean first period over because it's been so good for a long stretch now with Seattle. This is going back almost 20 games. They've been a good first period over team. I don't love it in this particular spot, though, tonight. It's something I might sprinkle live, though, during the betcast.
Right.
Let's see if we can get plus money on it. Yeah. See the pace, see what's going on, and we might jump on it live during the betcast here tonight. Matt, what do you think here, Anaheim, Seattle?
That's exactly how I feel. I know it'll be later in the night. The Stars game will be coming on around the same time. Definitely not a game that I'm going to be that interested in. We'll see kind of the pace. Not just
I had you pegged to be watching this game over the Dallas Vegas game. I mean, my
goodness,
I got that one wrong.
we'll see the pace, and even sometimes I look at trends of games. If every game is going over the total, maybe I take a shot on the first period over in this one, because sometimes there's just those nights where it seems like every game kind of is on that trend. Or you've got nights like last night where you probably would feel that way and then get stomped by San Jose, Pittsburgh, playing low and slow and having a 2-1 final. So probably a pass game for me. I could see taking a look live, depending on where we're at in the night. But yeah, nothing really pregame here. I would lean Anaheim if I had to take a side, but even then, don't really trust them. I could see Seattle winning at home. So just a pass for me.
Yeah, that might be. I did not include Seattle Anaheim in my goal in the first 10 minutes parlay. I don't know why I didn't, because Jonathan is saying it's been good, and I think they've been good. But you know what it is? It's because they've had a streak, then they've had a couple where it doesn't hit, and then another streak. So it's been broken up a little bit. The streak of the first goal in the first 10 minutes for those two teams.
Make a separate bet where you add that one on and make it for smaller units.
Yeah, that's probably what I might do. Or we can, like with the betcast tonight, we can jump on it, in the first period. Like I said, with the live first period over, a live goal in the first 10 minutes. We can maybe
we circle this as a group bet tonight.
Live first period over, but especially live goal in the first 10 minutes for Anaheim, Seattle. If we get 3 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes or so without a goal to start the game. Yep.
You know what? It's funny. I might do that at patreon.com/ice guys. I might do a little list of some games spots we'll circle for the betcast tonight.
I see Jason Demers asking for our stats to use on the NHL network.
I did see that. We'll have to watch NHL
live or something. Yeah. Exactly. Hey, you want it? You better pay up, man.
Right.
For sure. Come on, man. Good stuff. A shout out to everyone in the chat. We appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on the way out if you haven't done so already. Great stuff. And like I said, we got a great betcast coming up tonight. We're very much looking forward to it. Make sure you join us again. Sign it if you want to sign up. Patreon.com/Ice Guys to join us for the betcast tonight. You can do so and get 50% off the first month of your Patreon membership. So again, 50% off. Sign up at patreon.com/Ice Guys. Use the promo code BETCAST50, BETCAST50. This 50% off discount with that promo code is available until midnight Eastern time tonight. So you've got 7 hours, or 9 hours, I should say, to take advantage of it, basically through to almost the entirety of the betcast. 50% off your Patreon membership for the first month. Sign up, patreon.com/Ice Guys, betcast50, the promo code, and we'll see you for the Patreon exclusive live betcast tonight, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We got a whole new look at the store. We've got a bunch of new merch. Definitely check that on out right now. Like I said, the Corvinus series. We got Ian's Can't Find Him with a telescope shirt. So a whole bunch of cool new things. And, of course, your standard classics as well. So all that available right now at the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right. Make sure you check it out. Great merch. New stuff, too. New gear, new merch now available at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. And, again, this betcast tonight, Patreon exclusive. So you got to sign up, be a Patreon member if you're going to watch the betcast and join us on the stream tonight during the betcast. All right, we got our bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday. 8 games to choose from. Alex, where are you headed tonight for the bargain bin?
Heading down to Tampa, you got the Blackhawks taking on the Bolts, and I'm going with Teuvo Teravainen. You can get him anytime goal scorer at FanDuel plus 480. Like I said, everybody in the Hawks at FanDuel is a bargain bin price. So we take advantage of having a top 6 forward at a good price here with Teuvo Teravainen. Anytime goal scorer plus 480. That's my bargain bin special for this Betcast Tuesday night.
There we go, Teuvo Teravainen for the Chicago Blackhawks. For Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. Matty Rob, what do you got for your bargain bin special here?
So I've got a bargain bin, but real quick, I've got a bonus. It's not quite bargain bin material, but it's something you talked about, Ian. If you parlay Rantanen and Natchez over 2.5 shots, it's like plus 225, plus 230. So if you think they're going to both get the shots tonight, they're both going for that first goal. Might be worth a look. But as far as my bargain bin, I'm actually headed to Tampa as well. I got a little nervous. Glad Alex didn't take mine. It's definitely not a top 6 forward, but he's playing against his old team. He's only got 2 goals this year, but give me Patrick Maroon to score against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm seeing it at like plus 900. He doesn't get out there too often in scoring chances, but he is on that second power play unit for the Hawks. Why not when he's back in Tampa? He obviously has good memories of that place, so it's comfortable in that building. Let's take a shot with Patrick Maroon. He was also on Spit and Chicklets today, so maybe he'll get that Chicklets bump and score this week. So Patrick Maroon, anytime goal, plus 900.
All right, Pat Maroon, the big rig, plus 900. Hell of a price there for the Chicago Blackhawks against Tampa Bay for Matt Robinson, going deep into the bargain bin for the bargain bin special here tonight. My bargain bin special, look, the concern I have with taking this player is the lack of goals this game might have with Logan Thompson and Dustin Wolf in net. But at the price you're getting, with the effort he's been giving for the Calgary Flames and the fact he's on the top line, I'm taking Jacob Peltier, Calgary Flames tonight, plus 480. At Patano is the best price for him there. It's a really good number, really good price. Obviously getting him on the top line. To be honest with you, I really like just as much Nazar, but I want to vary it up. Little variety, spice of life. But Nazar I almost went with him again for bargain bin special, but I will go with Jacob Peltier here. Calgary plus 480 for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
So obviously, we're riding with that Hawks and Bolts first period over, but that is not my best bet. I am actually going to go with one of the early games that we're going to be adding a little bit more on live in the Betcast. Carolina, New York first period over 1.5. You can grab it right now, minus $1.10. Like I said, we're going to try and add a little bit more on heading into the Betcast at plus money, but I do like that spot there. Canes and Blue Shirts first period over. My Tuesday best bet.
All right, there you go. Canes Rangers over 1.5 first period for Alex B. Smith with his best bet. Matt Robinson back with us. And by the way, congrats to the 2-0 sweep on the weekend of Mansfield. A lot of us were checking that out. Nice work for the team there, the crew. What do you like here, Matt, for best bet tonight?
Appreciate that. And it's funny, Alex mentioned the Chicago-Tampa Bay first period over. I wrote down 2. I figured he might take that one. He actually took the other one, Carolina, New York Rangers. So give me Chicago, Tampa Bay. Don't fix what isn't broken. First period over tonight. Just need 2. It's a little bit more juiced because of how it's been 14-1 for Chicago, but I still love it to hit tonight in Tampa Bay. So Chicago, Tampa Bay, first period over. That'll be my best bet.
All right, Chicago, Tampa Bay, first period over, 1.5. I think minus 135 is around the best price you can get with that. That is the best bet here for Matt Robinson for this great slate here on this Tuesday. My best bet, I am going to go with that. Look, I'm buying into series history here, and you can go a bunch of different ways, but I will go. There's a 5.5 out there at DraftKings, minus 125. We're going to take Colorado, New York Islanders over 5.5, minus 125. Again, we're just buying into 3-0 to the first period over, 3-0 to the full game over the last 3 meetings, 6-1 to the over in the last 7 meetings. That's the full game over. So when it's been Avalanche and Islanders, it's been goals in the last few years, and I think we'll see more of the same here tonight. And don't look now. That old regression bitch is starting to hit for Mackenzie Blackwood. Not nearly keeping the puck out of the net as much the last few games as he did initially. So I like goals here. We'll take Colorado, New York Islanders over 5.5, minus 125 for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL slate. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate you joining us. And one final time, there it is on the screen. It's our Patreon exclusive live betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, only available to Patreon members. So again, the only way to watch the betcast or join us on the betcast is to be a Patreon member. And until midnight tonight, you can get on board for 50% off the regular price of a Patreon membership. So 50% off discount. Sign up, patreon.com/iceguys. Use the promo code BETCAST50. BETCAST50, and we'll see you on the other side tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time for the live betcast. Looking forward to it. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will see you in just a few hours, 7 p.m. Eastern time, for the Patreon exclusive live betcast. And again tomorrow for the Wednesday show, where Trevor Mingoya, recently retired, will join us on the Wednesday edition of the show. So look forward to that. Betcast in a few hours, and back with the Daily Show tomorrow on Wednesday right here on the Ice Guys.